Good evening, folks. It is Tuesday, July 1st, which means this is the second month of the birthday quest, 11 months to go, and I am thrilled to be doing a birthday quest theme for Debbie. As a disclaimer, I think I've only called her Debbie a handful of times, even though she's told me to call her Debbie. That's because she was my choir teacher for many years at the performing arts school I went to. Let me get specific. I took her theory class my 6th grade year, then was in her children's choir for 2 years after that, then was in her high school chorale for 3 more years. So that means other than my original piano teacher that I spent 7 years with, there's no other teacher in my life that I spent more years with as a student, and certainly no other teacher at all that I spent more days with. Ever since I started performing, I always had a fascination not with what the teachers were doing, but the how and the why. So I was very aware of how great Debbie was as a teacher. So I was keenly aware of how strong she was, especially when she went on leave for a few months. What I was not aware of at the time was how many choral directing disasters there are out there. I had no idea what a rarity she was until I started college. When I reflect back on the influence she had on me, I think about the positive lessons I learned from her that have been reinforced over my career. Because man, I've learned so many negative lessons from the educational world. Important lessons, but negative lessons nonetheless. I actually want to take some time and talk about 2 of those positive lessons. The first has to do with adaptability and flexibility. My first 3 years at the school, the top children's choir was taught by another teacher, and Debbie had the second children's choir, which had different ability levels, different expectations. But then he retired, and she took over the top children's choir, which was my 7th grade year, and that was my first year working with her as a choir director. As a kid, it was great for me as an observer, because she had several students that were in her choir the year previously who were now in the top choir with her as the director. And so especially in the first few weeks, she would say things like, "That was the old way, this is the new way." But to watch her steadily intensify her approach over the course of the first 3 months, and to watch the choir steadily and continuously improve, was fascinating for me to watch. Then I went on a tour of the musical The King and I for 5 months, and when I came back for the final month of the school year, the choir was spectacular. But again, to watch her modify her approach and be flexible for the situation, that was a lesson that not only impacted me as a kid, but continues to stick with me to this day. The second lesson has to do with fighting the good fight for standards and quality. The school was falling apart at the seams my senior year, plus she was on leave for several months, so when she came back, the choir was in a bit of disarray, to put it mildly. To make matters worse, there were a number of seniors who insisted that there was nothing wrong and we were just as good, if not better than previous years, saying that, oh, it's just because we're seniors and we have better ears, so we notice our mistakes more. And as a conductor, if you're working with an ensemble that insists, oh, it's not that we are playing badly, we just have good ears, you're in a bit of a pickle. So, at the end of her first week back, she takes out a recording from just 2 years previously and plays it. And that recording was amazing, and miles better in every measurable category than what we were doing at the time. But to come back to a school that's in a virtual death spiral organizationally, and be working with students that are upset or disgruntled or indifferent, and to draw a line in the sand and say, you know what, we are going to fight for something good. That had a big impact on me. In fact, all of the important artistic mentors in my life have fought the good fight for quality. For her theme, I started with the letters in her last name, put it through my musical alphabet code number 1, and that became the melody that you hear that opens the theme. The second half of the theme is comprised of 2 musical quotes, both of which come from the same choral piece, which is one of my favorite choral pieces I performed under her. Normally I'll change the rhythm of musical quotes quite a bit in order to obscure them, but in this case I play them almost exactly as written, so they should be instantly recognizable if you know the piece. As always, check the information section below the video on the YouTube page if you want to see what those quotes are. So happy birthday, Debbie. Thank you for those wonderful years and those wonderful lessons you taught me, and I hope you enjoy your birthday quest theme.